Hi, my name is Soraya Tyler. Welcome to City Journal. We have here with us the mayor, and we're going to just talk a little bit about yard waste and leaf collection.
Yeah, we talked about this on the last show last month, if you remember, and we told everybody that yard waste collection and leaf collection was going to end on December the 6th. And it technically has ended, but we're still getting the occasional phone call from somebody who may not have got their leaves and their yard waste collected and set out to the curb during that week. So we are not in a position to continue to do leaf collection, because what happens when it gets really cold like it is outside right now, the equipment doesn't work very well in cold weather because it's like a giant vacuum that we use, and we come by and we suck up all the leaves. And also we need the trucks to transition them over into snow and ice removal. So that's the main reason that we're not doing leaf collection anymore. Also, when it comes to the yard waste, if by chance that you still have some, you can call the city garage. We'll put you on a schedule and we'll get out there and get it as soon as we can. But there's no guarantees if you call today that we're going to get it tomorrow, because snow and ice is our main priority right now. And we're using that manpower for snow and ice. And we should have about 8 trucks out on the streets this year. We actually put into service a brand new snow plow and truck. So that'll help us out a great deal. The salt supply is holding steady right now. We do notice that there is not a problem with a salt shortage. The issue that municipal and county governments are having is transportation and getting the salt to us here in Marion. And we're seeing that all over the state of Ohio. Most people don't realize, but our salt comes to us from underneath salt mines underneath the Great Lakes, and then it has to be shipped and dispersed throughout the state of Ohio, usually via a semi. And so the problem is transportation right now. But our salt shed is about 3/4 full, so we should be good to go. And I looked at the weather the other day, and it looks like it's going to warm up into the 40s by Christmas. So hopefully we won't have bad weather over Christmas. But I know, folks, some of you like a white Christmas. Are you a white Christmas fan?
Yeah, I would believe so.
Okay. All right. We might not have it this year, though.
We might not,
No.
but that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay, I guess. But can you tell us a little bit about also the city's budget and how big the budget is?
Yeah, so always in December, this is the time of the year where we really get down and start presenting the budget to City Council. In fact, we do it every year because it's an annual budget. The state does a biannual budget, but municipal government here in Marion, and I think most municipal governments and local governments across the state of Ohio, do an annual budget. And so this year's is no different. We have about a $56 million budget in total, and that funds every single department that we do and every service that we provide to the citizens of Marion. That budget went to council at the beginning of December for the first reading. We just had the second reading this past Monday, and then we will have the third reading coming up on January the 1st, and then that's when the budget will be passed.
Okay, cool. What's the difference between the general fund budget and the enterprise fund budget?
Right, and a lot of people don't know the difference. When it comes to the city's budget, we do break it down. We break it down by departments, and we also break it down in the difference between a general fund and an enterprise fund, and then it all becomes one, and that's the $56 million. The general fund portion of that $56 million is somewhere in the neighborhood of $18 million. And the general fund is generally departments that do not generate revenue on their own. We rely on solely the earned income tax collected every year by those that live and those that work in the city of Marion. General fund departments, our two biggest, which are our two biggest across the city, are the police department and the fire department. Generally about $6 million it takes us to run each of those two departments. So you can see that of an $18 million budget, $12 million is police and fire, and that's really the way it should be. Those are the two most critical departments that we have in the city department, and it's not unusual for the city of Marion to have that as the biggest part of their budget. Now, the rest of the money in the general fund, that can be anything from the engineering department, the parks department, the Marion Municipal Airport, the senior center, much smaller departments, and it doesn't take as much money to run them because we don't have 56 to 60 employees in each one of those departments. So that's the general fund. On the other side is the enterprise fund, and those are the departments that also generate revenue because it's like the sanitation department. So we pick up your trash once a week. We were picking up leaves, we were picking up yard waste, we do storm cleanup. You pay for all of those services through your sanitation bill. And then we have the sewer department, which is also an enterprise fund department, and that's where you pay your sewer bill. So you've got sanitation and sewer that pay for those departments as well as everything that we do in those departments, and that's why we call them an enterprise fund. They rely on you paying your bill and not the general income tax to support them. So a lot of people don't understand the difference between general and enterprise. I can't use enterprise dollars in the general fund, but I can use general fund dollars in the enterprise. We don't do that, or at least we try not to do that, because that makes a balanced budget, and we make those departments stand alone on the bills that we send out for the city of Marion.
Can you tell us a little bit about the swearing in of new officials?
Yeah, and I mentioned in reference to the budget will actually be passed on January 1, which is the same time in the same meeting that the new council will be sworn in, as well as old council members, and the new city auditor, Mark Russell, the law director, will be sworn in, and as well as the mayor will be sworn in. So we'll be starting a new term since we just had a municipal election this past November. So the first meeting of the year is always on January the 1st at noon after a municipal election. We all get sworn into office, and then the new council votes on the 2020 budget. That's why the budget isn't passed by the old council, because we have 5 council members that won't be coming back next year. So it's up to the new council members to vote on that $56 million budget that I was just talking about a moment ago. And it's always a big day when new elected officials get sworn in. Again, that's January 1st on the 2nd floor of City Hall, and it is at 12 noon.
We're going to go on break. See you soon.
Did you know the winter holiday season is a peak time of year for home fires? Take precautions to protect your family from holiday fires. Install smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each sleeping area, and on every level of the home. Test them monthly. Space heaters can provide supplemental heat for chilly rooms, but they're also a leading cause of fires. Always plug the heater directly into an outlet and place it at least 3 feet away from anything flammable. Combustible decorations, including Christmas trees, should also be kept 3 feet away from any open heat source. Check electrical lights and decorations for damage before use, and avoid overloading electrical outlets. Locate candle displays out of reach of children and pets, and consider using battery-operated candles instead. Finally, always turn off space heaters and electrical decorations and extinguish candles when you leave home or go to sleep. Make safety a tradition. Best wishes for a happy and safe holiday season from ESFI.
Hi, welcome back to City Journal. We have here Mayor Schertzer, and we're going to talk a little bit more about where we stand on the renovation of the stadium at Lincoln.
Yeah, we just had a staff meeting this morning. We do a staff meeting every other Wednesday. I think it's the second and third Wednesdays of every month. The mayor and my senior staff, we meet with all the department heads. And I did want to mention the park director, Mike Cheney, gave us an update on where we stand on the renovation of the stadium at Lincoln Park, Lincoln Field. You may remember that earlier this year that we announced that we got a $400,000 grant from the state's capital budget to do some renovations on that. So we're really excited for that work to get started in 2020 as soon as the weather breaks. So they'll spend the winter basically preparing the site for renovations, and we hope that that will be done in 2020. But we don't know how that will impact the baseball and or softball on that particular field. We believe that you're still going to be able to play baseball on the field out there, and that's the main field. We call it Lincoln Field. But that stadium renovation will take place, and you'll see a lot of activity right around the stadium, and only the stadium at this point in time, because that's the $400,000. We can only use it on renovating the stadium. And I think you're going to see a distinct difference in the stadium as it was last year compared to what it will look like when they're all done. We're not going to be able to add a new press box or anything like that yet. We're just going to be taking care of basically the skeleton of the stadium and maybe sandblasting it and putting a coat on it to kind of weatherproof it, if you will, and taking that old lean-to off the back that was erected sometime in the early 70s. So that's the kinds of things you're going to see taking place with the Lincoln Stadium as soon as the weather breaks in 2020.
I'm excited for that. I played ball
Yeah.
there. So, yeah.
A lot of people played ball there.
Yeah, that hits home. Can you speak a little bit more about the code enforcement department?
Yeah, and there's another thing that we've talked about. We're getting ready to do some interviews to create this code enforcement division that I talked about throughout the fall. We've referenced Casey Thomas of the Marion City Police Department. He is our code enforcement police officer, and he has gotten so busy, hundreds of junk cars removed, thousands of abandoned tires removed, and really starting to have an impact in some of these neighborhoods on how we deal with some of these issues. Now we're looking to hire somebody through the sanitation department to assist Casey in what he does. Somebody that has the experience, that understands what it means to clean up some of these abandoned houses, how to deal with the tires, help Casey dealing with junk cars. So we're really starting to expand the code enforcement division that we talked about earlier this fall, and we hope to have an even greater impact. And it is my goal to add yet another police officer to the force to help Casey do the same thing that he's doing as a Marion City police officer. We realized over the past 6 to 9 months that having a police officer deal with these issues has a greater impact than the zoning inspector or even the assistance that we get from the Marion Public Health Department. We'll still meet with all those groups. They'll still coordinate together, and that's been a good thing, is allowing them to coordinate with Casey's code enforcement, the zoning inspector, and the health department, as well as additional person that will be coming on. And they'll also help coordinate the weed and grass program. We have special money set aside for the weed and grass program where we can go out and we can mow the lawn of an abandoned house so it doesn't get 6 foot tall and you're living beside that. So that is the beginning stages of our code enforcement division that we're talking about. And I'm really excited because it's really helping clean up the town, and it's really having an impact on some of our neighborhoods where we've needed a little extra attention.
Can you speak about the retirement of the city's safety director?
Yeah, you know, this is kind of sad for me because it's with great regret that I've announced to the staff this morning that Tom Robbins, my safety director, will be retiring on December 31st. So he just finished his last council meeting of his career this past Monday night. Tom has been my safety director for the entire time that I have been in public office as mayor. Tom will be ending a 45-year career with the city of Marion. His first job with the city of Marion was a lifeguard at the old Marion pool in Lincoln Park. He was a park employee. He started out as a police dispatcher. Then he worked his way through the ranks of the Marion City Police Department from a patrolman all the way to a major, which is just one step below the chief of police. And then when I got elected in 2007, I asked him to come on board as the safety director. Tom has had a wealth of institutional knowledge with his experience in being employed by the city of Marion, but also his institutional knowledge goes back decades because his father was a long-serving city councilman back in the 60s and the early 70s. And believe it or not, sometimes we go back that far to see how did the city handle and what did the city do how they handle things back in those days to give us that institutional knowledge to help me make better decisions on how we do things now. I am really going to miss Tom Robbins. I wish he and his wife Terry the best of luck in their retirements. And so I did want to announce today to the public that Tom Robbins will be retiring, and his last day is December 31st.
Stay around. We're going to be going on a break.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to City Journal. We're here with Mayor Schertzer. Can you tell us how you did in the peanut push?
Well, yeah, we kind of do the official, maybe unofficial kickoff of the holiday season as always the first Saturday of December. We lit up the lights on the Christmas tree inside City Hall. Our Christmas tree's inside. And then we have the peanut push. Jeff Ruth came back from WMRN to MC the peanut push. It's always great to see Jeff Ruth involved in community activities as he has been for so many years. It was an interesting peanut push this year. We didn't have as many participants in it, but I did really well. I got second place. So I was really proud of my performance there. I've been doing the peanut push for about 24 years. You know, a lot of people ask me, is it a job requirement of the mayor to be in the peanut push? And I tell them, yes, unofficially it is a job requirement. Jack Kellogg used to do it for a number of years. I've done it every year that I've been in public office. And I think it's just a good charity for the community, Christmas Clearinghouse. The Harley Riders brought in a $30,000 check. And for the first time, to my knowledge, we actually had an interest from a film crew who is a documentary filmmaker from Cleveland, Ohio, come down and document the Marion Peanut Push. And I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they want to come back and they want to interview Charlie Evers, who was kind of the grand founder of the Peanut Push, and Jeff Ruth, who has been involved in the Peanut Push for over 25 years. And we'll see where it goes, but we're documenting. And here at Harding Telecom, you guys have documented the Peanut Push for a number of years now. So it was quite interesting. I enjoy it every year. We had the parade afterwards, very nice parade, not very long, but the weather was absolutely perfect for the Peanut Push and the parade this year. So the holiday season has officially kicked off. There's been Christmas receptions and Christmas parties all over town. So I just ask everybody to be responsible and be careful when you're going from Christmas celebration to Christmas celebration. So that's kind of the holiday season.
Now, as mayor, what else do you do around the holiday season?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, I do get invited to a lot of Christmas receptions. I try to attend as many as I possibly can. I think I've made it to all of them this year that I was invited to. I know the Marion Community Foundation does a big one. The Citizens Police Academy, the CPAAA, they do one. Downtown Marion Inc. did one. So I stopped at all those. And kind of another tradition for the mayor is to ring the bell for Salvation Army. So last Friday I was standing out in front of Walmart for a couple hours and ringing the bell, which is always a lot of fun because it's amazing how many people come and go out of there and they want to talk to you. And I think it's just a good way for me to connect with our citizens by doing charity work around the Christmas time.
Now, speaking of the holidays, can you tell us a little bit more about the holiday hours for City Hall?
Yeah, so the best thing to do is to always call ahead before you come to City Hall. What it looks like right now, Monday, December 23rd, are going to be normal hours. But December the 24th, Christmas Eve day, there's a lot of modifications with the hours in city government. Obviously, we are closed December 25th, and then this December 26th and 7th, the Thursday and Friday, we're back to normal hours. Same thing the next week. Monday, December 30th, normal hours. December 31st, some of our departments will be closing early that day. We kind of leave it up to the department heads on whether they want to close or not, and that means our employees have to use their vacation time if they choose to close. City Hall is not officially closed because some of our departments will remain open. And then obviously January 1st we're closed, and then January 2nd and 3rd, the Thursday and Friday after New Year's Day, we're back to normal hours. So for those of you that might rely on the senior center or the transit department, it's always best to call ahead and make sure that the buses are going to be running at the normal times that they normally do, because we're going to have a lot of modified hours on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and then Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Obviously, we won't have those services. And the same goes for City Hall, whether it's utility billing, the engineering department, the courts, they set their own hours, the law director sets their own hours, and the auditor of the city sets their own hours. And the reason that they set their own hours is because they're elected officials and they have the power and authority to do that. I think they're going to be open a little bit, but again, call ahead before you come to City Hall during the next 2 weeks, because they might not be open or they might be closing early on some of those days that I just mentioned.
Well, you're ready for the holidays. I'm ready for the holidays.
Have you started your Christmas shopping yet?
No.
No. That makes two of us. I haven't even started yet. But with that being said, I want to wish everybody and all the viewers of Harding Telecom a very Merry Christmas and a safe and Happy New Year.
Thank you for tuning in to City Journal.